Hi, everyone. My name is Leni, and I am with you now from Illinois, live streaming from Andersonville, north side of Chicago. I'm with a local group called Indivisible IL9, and we are part of a national network of 6,000 groups across the nation who are working to elect progressive candidates and push on progressive issues. I have a little dance store. I sell dance shoes and tights and tutus in Andersonville. And I also work at the Chicago Reader on the sales side. So if you ever want to buy an ad, please do support your local alternative news weeklies. We at the Chicago Reader also believe that we need to fund the post office. We also believe here on this call that masks are not a partisan issue. And in Illinois, we are encouraging people to vote for Joe Biden, our endorsed candidate, and also to check the box so that we can pass a fair tax in Illinois. We also believe that if we all vote early, we can vote in October. And lastly, we encourage people to wash hands, practice social distancing, and vote this dangerous liar out. So thank you all for being here. This is the Indivisible Illinois Thursday live stream. And my name is Leni Manaa-Hoppenworth. I'm excited to hear from so many grassroots leaders on the call today. I'm actually going to have Kelly start to share who she is, what she's doing here, and then to pass it on to somebody else. And then we'll go through the speakers by that, and then we'll go on from there. We're gonna hear from Rose, who's gonna give us a presentation, and on from there. So let's go ahead, Kelly.
Hi there. I'm on, right? Yeah, okay. Is this thing on? I guess so. I don't know. Okay, yeah, so I'm known for making goofy faces. I'm Kelly, and I made most of the buttons that Leni just shared with us. And I'm a member of Indivisible IL9 and also Indivisible Printers Pro. I am going to pass the mic to the person I see next to Leni, which is Rose.
So I feel neglected. I have one button. I do have more over there, but I won't walk over. Hi, everybody. I'm Rose. I have been doing election security and working in Wisconsin for a number of years, and I'm really pleased to be with you this evening and looking forward to conversing with my friend Lori coming up shortly. And why don't we, with that, pass it over to Lori.
Hi, I'm Lori Ashikawa, and I am a member of Indivisible IL9, and I live in Andersonville on the north side of Chicago. Passing it to Heba.
Hi, folks. My name is Heba Mohammad. I'm the Digital Organizing Director for the Wisconsin Coordinated Campaign. I'm currently based in Madison, Wisconsin, and really excited to be on the call with you all today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to my colleague, Alexis.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alexis Rangel. My pronouns are they and them, and I am a Deputy Voter Protection Director for the Wisconsin Dems and the Coordinated Campaign. Currently based in Milwaukee, but I have very, very strong ties to Chicago and to Illinois, and I'm so glad to be on this call. I went to law school in Chicago and in Andersonville. I even managed Hamburger Mary's Chicago for a little bit. Chicago was a very special place in my heart. I can pass it over to Jessilee.
Hi, I'm Jessilee. I am from Seattle, and I am volunteering with Wisconsin Democrats. So Heba brought me in to, first started with phone banking, and now I'm a call team leader, which is great. And I will pass it over to Anne.
Thank you, Jessilee. And I am live streaming from Appleton, Wisconsin, up in the Fox Valley, about a half hour south of Green Bay. And my husband makes the buttons in our house, and he took more over to our county party. Person, woman, man, vote Biden. There's a funny one. And we have Joe 2020. And of course, I'm wearing one. And also our down ballot races are really important to us too for our legislature. I'll talk with you more about that. But thank you so much for having me tonight. Glad to be here. Let me pass it on to who is left of the speakers. We may have covered everyone.
Great, thank you. And
Yes.
I wanted to introduce Rose Calicino. She's our voter protection and election security coordinator, Indivisible Illinois, and also into Wisconsin, working on voter protection for many years now. And we're so excited to hear from you every week since May about what we can do to get involved to win in November. So passing it to you, Rose.
Thank you, Leni. I'm going to share my screen and say if I keel over, Leni could most likely take over and repeat everything I've been saying for the last 5 or 6 months. So here goes my screen. One of my favorite slides, resurrecting it. It's an old one, but one of my favorites, and I welcome all the folks from Illinois, all the folks hopefully from across the country that might be watching, and we invite all of you to help us volunteer in this critical state. As I have said many times before, and as Leni could most likely repeat, in my opinion, and I think probably most of the people on this call, on the forum this evening, all roads to the White House lead through Wisconsin. So what motivated me to get involved? Well, I actually was canvassing in Wisconsin, I think 2018 is one of the first times, let alone maybe campaigning a little bit for Hillary Clinton. But 2018, I had the opportunity to canvass with the great group of Block. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Angela Lang. I recently have seen her on MSNBC. So she is quite the rock star, and that's what got it started. I think 200 of us Indivisibles campaigned and canvassed until we couldn't anymore. And all of us with the leadership of West Dems sort of turned the dial, and we all became phone bankers, texters, and we're all experts on Zoom, right? After that experience, I met a gentleman named David, and he was starting the Wisconsin Voter Protection Team. And now that team has grown, thank goodness, with Alexis and Ellen and JP and a lot of the other incredibly strong people in that group. And I actually was on the hotline with many other Indivisible people from Illinois. And it was quite an education. I can go on and on just about that. It was really informative for me. It really opened my eyes, and it really turned me into an advocate for mail-in ballots, not only for Wisconsin, but also for Illinois. And we have been working diligently with both states to help out as much as possible. This sort of depicts what was going on in Wisconsin in April, and we most definitely don't want this to happen again in November in Wisconsin and Illinois or anywhere. I used to have a lot of bullets and words on my deck, but it seems like these images really speak to folks more so. And this, I think, applies for any state. We hope and we encourage you to request your vote by mail, absentee ballot, whatever you're calling it. We are you to do it. And if you do so, I really think that some of the concern will be alleviated, and you'll see as this nice image depicts, let's do it as soon as possible online if possible, and let's not wait for the last minute and go back to those long lines or giving headaches to the election authorities. I'm now going to pivot. You might recognize Lori, the top middle there that I just introduced. And what we have at Indivisible Illinois, one of the many actions and activities that we have Working Wednesdays. that Lori leads. We have had the opportunity to think and also get out the vote with the leadership of Heba, whom you will be meeting soon. But we right now are doing Wisconsin voter protection calls. We had an amazing event last Wednesday. We showed the documentary Dress Rehearsal, which many of you might have seen. If you haven't, I really encourage you to go ahead and Google it and watch it. And I think Lori assembled more than 20 people. We hope all those people and more come back every Wednesday at 10 o'clock. And all of these things will be provided for you. Kelly is going to be posting this for us. So you'll see phone banking is fun. We had a lot of fun. We encourage you to join us. And I have some direction for you on this slide. You'll see the time of working Wednesdays. We start out at 10, we finish at about 11:45. You'll see what type of work we do. We recruit poll workers, which is highly needed and recommended poll workers. And those are the folks that actually live in Wisconsin. We also recruit poll observers. I'm happy to say one of the people from one of my teams, Heartland Resistance Coalition, has signed up, has gone to training. She said the training was outstanding, so I'm excited for her and more people that join her. And we are also recruiting for Hotline volunteers. You can sign up to receive weekly notification. That link is live once we send you this overall link. And there's the join link for Zoom. I am now going to, at last, bring in my friend Lori. And I just hope to ask her a couple of questions so we all can gain a better understanding of really what brought her to working Wednesdays. So before I do that, Lori, could you just once again introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Lori Ashikawa, and I live in Andersonville, Indivisible IL9. And I'm actually a professional violinist, but I'm out of work right now because of the pandemic. And I was thinking back to how Working Wednesdays started, and I just wanted to tell a quick little story. I remember my very last day at work on March 11th. I was playing a concert at Symphony Center, and it was almost as if a storm was coming because we all knew this was the last time we were going to be together. And by the weekend, the city had locked down, and I had been planning to go to Garfield Ridge to canvass for Maureen Newman that weekend, but that was also canceled. We all retreated into our houses, and Leni started this amazing time of 7 days a week at 10 a.m., including Sundays, where we would basically get together and talk about where do you get rubbing alcohol and where do you get toilet paper. And eventually, after we kind of got used to that, we started naming the days so we could keep track of where we were. So we had Social Sunday and Mindful Monday, and we had a different Wednesday name, but we were itching to get back to work. So I thought, oh, I'm just going to call it Working Wednesday, and we're going to do something at 10 a.m. And we ended up doing a lot of different things. We were doing letters to the editor workshops. We were doing watching city council, because this was right after George Floyd was murdered, and we were really concerned, we still are, about the Civilian Police Accountability Council. And then we started doing phone banking. And since so many of us knew about Angela Lang and her amazing work with Block in Milwaukee, we started with the Milwaukee Purge project to help people to check that they had not been purged off of the registration rolls. And that just kind of segued into voter protection. So we started out as a kind of smallish group, but it's been growing. This week, the call that Rose just mentioned, we had over 20 people, and we had people from California, from Massachusetts, from Washington, DC, and New York City. So I'd like to point out that that's 8 a.m. for Californians, but they are pretty excited about doing the work. And we have had a really great success rate. So what we do is from 10 to 10:30, we have a 30-minute training for newbies. People who have already been calling for us, they can mute themselves and just get started right away. We call from about 10:30 to 11:30, and then we debrief from 11:30 to 11:45. Although I'm thinking we might add on 15 minutes because it's getting down to the wire here, and we're having a lot of success. So one of our phone bankers, our prize phone banker who was in that picture there, Dick, he treats phone banking like sport fishing. And he was even phone banking during his vacation with his family on the road a few weeks ago. So this week he lingered on after the call. He called for 4.5 hours and he found 9 volunteers. And he also found volunteers who were volunteering their family. So this is what we do, and we'd love to have you join us. The other thing that we are doing is, since we are allowed as Illinoisans to go up to Wisconsin and be poll observers, there are a group of us who are going to try to caravan up and try to do that either on election day or in the days leading up to election day. So please check out the link and sign up on the RSVP, and you'll get my weekly reminder on Mondays of what the action is. And I can also fill you in on any other kinds of volunteer works, like the voter protection hotline and being a poll observer from Illinois. Thanks, Rose.
Lori, thanks so much. I have one more question. It's a surprise question,
Oh,
but we
boy.
talked about this earlier in the day. Yes, so I think you have it covered. We've been having a lot of discussions. There's so much to do, so much that can be done. This is what we've all been working toward for years now, and it's all very exciting, but we have a lot of options. So we had a discussion earlier today, Lori, about choosing what to do. Obviously, right now we can't canvass so much. How did you go about selecting between, when we could actually, canvassing and phone banking and the other opportunities we have? How did you come up with phone banking as what Lori wanted to hang her hat on?
Well, it's interesting. Phone banking is my least favorite, or it used to be my least favorite activity. And I really enjoyed canvassing because it was outdoors, and I enjoyed meeting people face to face. And there was something kind of distanced about phoning. But I read statistics that really the most effective thing that you can do is phone bank right now. Before that, it was in-person canvassing. And since we can't do that, phone banking was always the second thing. And then after that was some other things like texting, which is really fun because you can crank out 50 texts in just a few minutes, but it's not as impactful as phone banking. And then I love doing postcards, but then again, those are not as impactful. And we have such limited time. I just feel that I wanted to do the thing that is going to get the most done in the limited hours that we all have. And so that's why I picked on phone banking.
Thank you, Lori. You made my job easy. You covered everything, and what you said was very compelling, and I thank you for being the leader of these phone banks and having such a powerful impact. Thank you for everything that you are doing. With that, I'm going to shake things up a little bit. Sorry, Alexis, I do believe that Heba needs to leave, so I am going to go ahead, give you a little more breathing space, Alexis, and I'm going to turn it over to Heba. Heba and I have known each other for a number of months. She has been just such a great ally and colleague to those of us in Illinois that want to help in any way that we can. And we appreciate her training, her leadership. And at this point now, I want to turn it over to Heba.
Thank you so much, Rose. And the appreciation is certainly mutual. I love doing this work. I love working with incredible people like the folks on this call. So thank you for the opportunity again to be here with you all tonight. Hello again to the folks who are on the live stream. My name is Heba. I'm the digital organizing director for the Wisconsin Coordinated Campaign. I'm really excited that we are in the 50s at this point, both weather-wise, but also in terms of the number of days that we have until the election here. We have a lot of work ahead of us. And between now and election day, nearly every weekend is going to be a weekend of action for us. And we have daily phone banks to be reaching out to voters and having conversations that are going to make a difference in the outcome of this election. We know that our elections in Wisconsin often come down to a handful of votes by municipality, sometimes by ward. And so every single phone call truly does make a difference as we're connecting to voters and having conversations with them. We are going to share in the link on Facebook some links to upcoming phone banks for this weekend, the following weekend, and then our Tuesday and Thursday phone banks that are specifically targeted for our WisDem supporters across the country who want to make calls into Wisconsin. I hope that you will sign up. These calls are, like I said, so important. I really don't have to say too much more because I know we have two wonderful folks on the call who are volunteers with the WisDems who have been making these calls with us and can really speak to the experience and the impact that they're making with these calls. So I'm going to leave it there, but happy to respond to questions if they come up in the live stream in the comments, and just want to really express our appreciation for our neighbors in Illinois and all of the folks across the country who are making calls and recognizing the importance of Wisconsin in this big election. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Heba. And now, Alexis, thank you for waiting. It is my privilege to introduce Alexis. As I said, I first met with David a while ago. He was quite lonely, and now he has built an outstanding staff. I'm so thrilled that you have joined the team, Alexis, and I ask you to take it from here.
Thank you so much. As I said, I'm so excited to be here. There is so much that we're doing with the voter protection team in Wisconsin, and so much that you can do to help us out wherever you are. As some of the other speakers have mentioned, there are a number of projects that we're running to make sure that Wisconsin voters are able to safely and securely cast their ballots. The first being our voter protection hotline, which is now staffed and accepting calls from voters across the state to make sure they have all of the information they need and that they have a resource that they can ask questions to. We're also recruiting poll observers, both from within the state and from out of state, to come in and to make sure that our election officials and our poll workers are doing the right things that they're supposed to do, and that every Wisconsin voter has access to their vote. And we're also recruiting poll workers, because one of the biggest reasons for the lines that we saw in the past couple of elections that we had were people signing up to be a poll worker, and then for one reason or another not actually following through and showing up, whether it was for their safety or for any number of reasons. And we want to make sure that every municipality in Wisconsin has enough poll workers that we don't see mass closures of polling places come election day. And the way that we're recruiting all of these people for all of these projects is primarily phone banking, because we know that phone banking has a measurable impact. And particularly with our voter protection phone banks, we're reaching out to folks who have affirmatively reached out to us, telling us that they want to do something to help voter protection. And so it's all follow-up and scheduling them into the things that can be most useful. The one most important link I would like to share that should be shared across the platforms is our general events page that includes all of our phone banks and some of our trainings that we have. And that's just wisdems.org/vopro-events. But I also want to flag a very special phone bank that we're having this Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time that's going to be kicked off with a special guest. I can't share who our guest is going to be just yet. I'm not allowed to, but it's going to be very exciting, and we hope that you'll join us for that. That's everything that I have to add, and I think I can pass it along to Jessilee now to share some of her experiences.
Well, thank you so much, Alexis, and thank you to everybody who's joining us on the live stream. Like I said before, my name is Jessilee, and I am here in Seattle, so eyes are a little watery because the air quality up here, it's a little dry. Yeah, I got connected to WisDems through Vote Save America's Adopt a State program. Gonna boost that for a quick second. It's great. I had a choice of 6 swing states to choose from, and I went with Wisconsin because it's incredibly important in how close things were in 2016. It's hard sometimes, as much as I love my very blue bubble in my very blue state, to feel like I can make a lot of a difference. You know, I get calls to call your local representative. I'm like, my local representative is fine. She's great. She's Pramila Jayapal. She's got it handled. She's good. So there are times where I feel like I can't make much of a difference here in my area. So it's been really exciting to jump on with WisDems. So I started phone banking early August. Well, I guess a little background. I work in theater and I also work in education. So I have a lot of free time on my hands these days. We don't have a lot going on. So I needed something to put my energy towards. I signed up to Adopt a State, got connected to do phone banking. And after about a weekend of that, week and a half of that, I have a tendency to be obnoxiously helpful. So after a handful of shifts, people were putting questions in the Zoom chat during our trainings. And I was like, oh, well, I know the answer to that. And I know the answer to that. And I was just firing off answers to people. And then Heba reached out to me via email and she was like, well, you seem like you know what you're talking about. Do you want to join our leader team? So I jumped on as a call crew training leader just a couple of weeks ago, and it's been a blast. We have an amazing group of volunteers who, you know, lots of people that show up shift after shift, lots of new people that show up. And I'm just incredibly proud and honored to work with all of them, because calling strangers is scary. And it takes a lot of effort and heart to want to come out and spend your weekends doing that. So I actually just finished a training for our Thursday night, and they're great. They're super awesome. I have a great time doing it. And I think I'm gonna swing it over to Anne.
Thank you, Jessilee. I am just loving being in this space with all of you because I feel really loved. Let me tell you where I live and why that's so important to me. As I said, I live in Appleton, and that's part of the Fox Valley. To explain where that is, I never knew growing up. I grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, and traveled all over the country with my parents on road trips, but I didn't know where Appleton was. But it is about 30 minutes south of Green Bay, okay, near the north shore of Lake Winnebago. Part of the Fox cities. And we, that's Outagamie County, and we are like a swing county in a swing state. And I feel like our congressional district is a swing district. And to hear that Wisconsin is the tipping point in this election, there's a lot of pressure. We feel the pressure up here in Outagamie County. We absolutely do. And so it's very reassuring to see all of you who are engaged in this work to support our efforts. In Outagamie County, I serve as the chair of our political outreach committee, and I came to that position. It's like my favorite thing to do because it is all around supporting, recruiting, training, recruiting volunteers for campaign work. So I do it myself, and I find that's the easiest way to recruit people for the work, because you can speak from a position of credibility when you do that. Just like Jessilee had said, she was able to answer all the questions, and Heba saw that and saw this as an opportunity for Jessilee to take on more responsibility. So I do have a connection to Illinois. I feel the love. The first year, the first campaign that I volunteered was 2008. I felt I was so drawn to President Obama. He told everyone that ordinary people could do extraordinary things. And I believed that. And so I stepped up when I first went to a campaign event, went for my 2 tickets. And when I got to the front of the line, I said, do you need volunteers for tomorrow? They said, can you come back tonight? Yep. And that was the beginning, right? You just keep saying yes. And as you keep saying yes, you get more drawn into the process. So when I was campaigning in 2008, our stellar field organizer was Andrew Katz, and he was from Illinois. And he taught me what good organizing looks like, and to support volunteers in a way that sustains their involvement. That's so important. You know, Jessilee, you said that some people, they come and they go and more new people come in, and that's a challenge. That is a challenge for this work, because who said, you know, phone banking is not the easiest thing to do. You're making cold calls to people. But it is so important and rewarding when a voter will tell you, thank you for calling. Oh, thank you for helping me vote. It's just so important. So the challenges that we're facing in Wisconsin, you already are aware of how close our election was in 2016. And I'm so glad that you've connected with Angela Lang and Block. She's doing really important work in the Milwaukee area. So COVID has presented the challenge, right, to our campaigns that we went virtual. So now I really miss knocking on doors and talking to people face to face, but it has all gone virtual. Now, on the one hand, that has brought in people like yourselves to support us here that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. You know, you're not going to be able to come to Wisconsin every weekend. And for my part, as a team leader in Appleton, we're organizing by aldermanic district in Appleton and by municipality, countywide in our smaller municipalities. But aside from getting people engaged together in small neighborhood teams to show up for weekends of action, we also have out-of-state teams. So it's happening all over the country. So I had made a connection. I have a friend now that winters in Tucson, and my husband and I winter in Tucson, and she went back to Idaho, right? To Sandpoint, Idaho. It is so red, but there is a group of women in Bonner County, the Bonner County Dem women, and they wanted to do something. And Molly said, you know, I think I have a person that we can connect with. I think Ann can help us. So they've connected with me, and we have a neighborhood team in Sandpoint, Idaho. And they have, I think we've got about 10 signed up for this weekend. All told, this weekend in Outagamie County, we have 200 volunteer shifts. This is amazing. People are sensing the urgency now that we need to reach voters. And another new challenge arose today. I don't know if you've heard, but there has been a lawsuit brought against, I don't know if they're suing the Wisconsin Elections Commission, but Howie Hawkins is running for president with the Green Party. And Kanye West still wants to try to get on the ballot in Wisconsin. And so they're suing, and our ballots, we've been telling voters for weeks that absentee ballots would be going out beginning September 17th. And I learned today that they will not. This is what we face in Wisconsin. We have a very conservative Supreme Court. They made April absolutely chaotic for people who are trying to get people out to vote safely. And now we're facing another challenge. So I appreciate everything that you're doing. I think the poll observer and poll worker work, that whole helping to protect the vote is really important, Alexis. So thank you for your efforts in that area with the DPW. I think that kind of covers it. I love what I'm doing. I love the people I meet through this process. It makes me stronger. We can be filled with a lot of despair at this time in our nation, right? And we feel hopeless and a lot of angst. But when you can find a person who's feeling that and then provide them with an opportunity to take those negative feelings and turn them into action, it changes, it turns people around. When we recruit someone to action, we're providing an opportunity. Is so important. So I'll leave it there, and maybe we'll entertain some questions.
Thank you so much, Ann and Jessilee, for sharing your stories on why you're volunteering with Wisconsin Dems. I know that several of you have joined on the call for the first time, and at this time, please put your questions into the chat, or I might actually call you in. I'm looking at you, James Kahn, because I haven't seen you in a long time. And when we were able to meet in person, James and I met at our 9th district political office, where it's very convenient for us because we've got Jan Schakowsky, who's our congressional leader, and we've got our Heather Staines, our state senator, and Kelly Cassidy, who's our state rep. And all of these people who you might not think about every day, maybe you're thinking about who's at the White House, but all these folks that represent you, they were actually all in one building for us. So it was really great for James and I to get together then and do things along the way in the last couple of years. But James has been gone, and he texted me and he said, hey, what's going on in Illinois? I'm coming back. And so I invited him on the call today. And James, I just wanted to get your thoughts on what you're thinking. If you don't mind, if I could put you on the spot, if you got unmute yourself. There you go.
Am I unmuted?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, well, this has been encouraging because I'm in Utah right now, but Colorado is where I usually am, and just kind of running around and have been for some months now, just camping and stuff. And it's time to get busy. And actually, between me and some people, we filled out 1,000 postcards to Michigan voters through Indivisible Evanston or Chicago or Illinois or something. But my thoughts were whether I should go to Wisconsin or whether I should go to Florida. I mean, basically, I can go anywhere and do a lot of work. And what this now makes me consider, maybe I can stay put and just do phone banking to Wisconsin, and I can also get a hold of some Florida and or Arizona Indivisible groups and see if they're doing something similar. And I might not have to go running around at all. And I can just sit down for many, many hours between now and election day and just make phone calls if that's what's best. But I'm at the point of trying to figure out if I should actually go somewhere, to a swing state, Wisconsin or Florida are kind of my finalists as to where I might go, or at least focus my efforts. So maybe both, if I can do it from home.
That's great. Thank you so much, James, for sharing. And thanks for being here today.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
We would like you to choose Wisconsin.
Well, maybe I can.
Thank you for letting me call you out. I know that Marianne's on mute and she's also hidden her video, but thank you, Marianne, for joining us today. I know that you're already doing a lot, and you're doing a lot of phone banking too. So if you unmute yourself and unvideo yourself, I'd love to hear what you thought about the stories you've heard today, and maybe the reason why you're here at all, listening in.
I'm here because I feel exactly the way you do, all of you. There's a real forceful need to, and I am still guilty that I didn't work for Hillary. I still feel bad about it. I always work every election, and that one I didn't. Today I talked to this gun owner who was very sweet. I wasn't calling him, I was calling his wife. And he said, I just want you to know, I'm all about the Second Amendment, so you're not going to get me to vote. And I said, well, are you reasonable? Are you responsible? And he said, you bet I am, and we can all get along. And I said, you bet we can. So that was a good call. I've had a lot of good calls. I think that the only part that was hard for me was the one night when nobody in Wisconsin would pick up the phone to save their lives. Because usually people will. Sunday's not so good for me. But the other days I can usually get an hour in somehow. I just feel, there have been people I've talked to that you could sense that they feel isolated. They feel abandoned. They feel scared. And they'll talk to you, which is not usually the case with phone banking. But I've had some long conversations with people who, even if they didn't commit to my candidate or my party, I could sense a softening, if nothing else. So I think this is so good for my mental health. If not, it's the only reason is that we can act. When I talk to you all, Kelly does this book club on Sunday mornings. And by the time we're done with book club, I am ready to go run over to church and yell at everyone. It's really wonderful. And I think we're going to be very pleased November 3rd. And I think we have to all envision that every single day.
Amen. Thank you, Marianne. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for joining the Sunday anti-racist working group that Kelly leads. And Kelly can share those links into the chat. Jessilee?
If I could just join in on Marianne's point, a lot of what I do when I'm doing Zoom trainings and then manning the Zoom chat for people's questions is cheerleading, because it can be really discouraging when you call and call and call and don't talk to anybody, or they hang up, or they are less than pleasant and then they hang up. And what I just like to remind our volunteers is that every single call that you make gives us information that we can use, even if that information is don't call this person again. Because the closer we get to election day, time is our most valuable resource. So if we're stripping people off the list that we know we're not going to make any headway with, that's just more time that we're freeing up for people that we can persuade. So, you know, it can be hard to make it through a whole call shift and have just a really rough day and not be able to find that like perfect persuadable voter. But I want people to always know that the work that they're doing is valuable. And I found that reframing it that direction is super helpful, I think, for morale, that no matter what it is you're doing, it's helpful. It's absolutely valuable. And we want you there contributing.
Thanks, Jessilee. I'm gonna call in one more volunteer who I love seeing on video, Allison. I see you there. And if you're up for commenting at all, unmute. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Leni. I just feel like I found my jam with this Wisconsin thing. I have a connection to it. My mom grew up in Union Grove, and I have very Republican relatives in Racine, but I just love Wisconsin, and I feel in my heart that we can swing this state. I just feel it. And I also feel like I'm very encouraged by how organized you guys are. You know, it just feels like you have your stuff together, and I'm just really happy to be contributing whatever I can. So I just signed up to be a poll observer today, and I wasn't sure if I should do it. And once I did, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm going to be there. So yeah, I just thank you, everybody, for what you're doing and just inspiring me to get involved.
Thank you so much, Allison, for sharing. There's a couple more folks on the line, and if you're muted or hiding your video, please reveal yourself if you want to contribute. And I will ask Merle to contribute, as she's from Indivisible Evanston. Any thoughts, Merle? You all are doing so much. You have so many committees. You have so much going on. Tell me what you thought about this call today.
Well, there is so much going on, and everybody, I agree with everyone that says they do what they can, and that includes me. Whether it's due to high risk situation or whatever, mobility, we all in Evanston are doing an amazing amount of things. We're postcarding, we're book clubbing, all the things that you're mentioning, phone banking into Wisconsin and Michigan. There is something going on for everyone every day, very similar to what's been mentioned. Very active group, and wonderful to be a part of it.
Thank you so much, Merle. We appreciate you. I'm going to hand it to first Jessilee, you're going to hand it to Alexis, and Alexis is going to hand it to Anne, and then we're going to end the call today. I want to thank everybody for joining today. We would love to see you again, either at a phone bank shift on Zoom or another live stream here, but we have how many more months to go? Not so many. We see the end in sight. So thank you for being here again. I'm going to pass it to Jessilee.
Might help if I unmute myself. Truly, I just want to thank everybody for joining us, and we definitely would love to have you on Team Wisconsin. I dropped a link in the chat where you can sign up for call shifts for the next about week and a half so. Come hang out for one of my awesome trainings. We'll get you all set up on how to use our dialer tool and how to go through our script. And then I'm just gonna close with, I tell this to all of our volunteers as we're debriefing, that there's a lot to feel scared of right now. And I feels like with every passing hour of the news coming out, it gets worse and worse and worse. And it's hard to keep up hope. And so I like to tell our volunteers that hope is stronger than fear, because fear is reactive and hope is proactive. Anybody can be home and be scared. It takes a lot more energy and a lot more effort to come out and be hopeful and try to make that change. So I'm incredibly proud and honored to work with all of you and to work with all of our amazing volunteers, and go Team Wisconsin. In fact, I'm going to jump off and go congratulate all of our volunteers who are just about wrapping up their shift. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Jessilee. Alexis.
I just want to say we've got 53 days left until the election, and ballots are dropping here in a few short weeks in Wisconsin. Early voting starts October 20th. It's crunch time, but there are some exciting things. Our voter protection team nationwide is twice as large as the team that we had in 2016. Our Wisconsin voter protection team has been on the ground since February, which is 6 months longer than has been in previous elections. We have built the programs, we have put in the infrastructure in place, and we are doing everything that we need to do to make sure that we carry Wisconsin. And with your help, we're going to do that. We got 53 days to make it happen, and we're going to do it.
Thank you, Alexis. And Anne, please wrap us up here.
Oh, thank you, Leni and Alexis, Jessilee. You know, I have seen the power of your organizing in Indivisible, and it's so remarkable and reassuring. I just appreciate everything that each of you is doing. You have taken yourselves off the sidelines. You're not in the sidelines of this playing field. You are on the playing field. You're doing the work, and that is so important. At the same time, there are still people on the sidelines. There still are people out there that are just, you know, they're like aching to make a difference. I really believe in my heart, this is something I truly believe, that everyone in life wants to make a difference. And in this election, people want to make a difference. People are sensing the urgency. And so we really need to be brave enough to get out there and find these people, make these opportunities available to them. It happened to me. This is 8 o'clock. I'm going to take a time. I'm going to tell a little story here. It's different in COVID, right? You're even recruiting virtually. And I'm not a Facebook warrior, but I use Facebook for organizing, and I look for those openings. So the other day, there was a meme put up by an acquaintance. She's an educator. I'm a retired speech and language pathologist. So people's voices, that's what I care about, is helping people to find their voice, right? So anyway, a fellow colleague put up a meme, and it was so full of despair. You know, it's like, make it stop, right? I'm so tired. And then all the adjectives describing Trump. I'm, period, so tired, damn tired, whatever. And so I followed that up with a comment saying, we need more volunteers. And then I am a volunteer, and I can help you get started. And by golly, someone replied and said, Anne, I private messaged you. Well, we've made a connection. We talked the very next day, and she is now on my neighborhood team. She came to my neighborhood team meeting the other night, and she left, our team meeting was Tuesday, and she left on Wednesday for a week to visit her son in the Twin Cities. But she says, Anne, when I come back, I will be signing up. She learned how to use the Reach app. She is ready to go. She has never volunteered, but there's all, just like Wisconsin is the tipping point for the nation in this election, every volunteer has that tipping point where they never volunteered before, and then something will spark them. And it's time. They're ripe. They're ready. They're ready to take action. And so just remember that people are waiting to be asked. Don't be afraid. I want to end with a quote that was shared with me at a leadership organizing training. I'm going to put a plug in here for the WILD project, which I didn't plan on doing, Wisconsin Leadership Development Project. And the quote is from Jesse Wilderman. He's another organizer. I have not met him, but I like to give credit where credit is due. I found this in one of my manuals, and this is the quote. And it speaks to how we hesitate, right? To ask people like, oh, I don't think they'd want to. Oh, they don't have the time. Oh, I don't think they like talking on the phone, whatever. Here's the quote. Don't let your hesitation hold someone else back from their revolution. There's work to be done yet in these last 53 days, and it's on all of us that are already on that playing field to get out there and look for those others that are on the sidelines. Bring them in, and give them a chance to make a difference in this election. So, there you go.
Thank you, Anne. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And everyone, this is not a partisan issue. Wear your masks, social distance, and be healthy and well. We'll see you next time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.